Good evening and welcome to the Fincom meeting of August 25th, 2020. For those of you on the Zoom, I need to read to you the following. The participants and attendees are reminded that by joining this meeting, you consent to your likeness and audio being used and rebroadcast by LCTV. That having been done, our proposed agenda tonight is capital funding for DPW with Chris Stoddard, reserve fund transfer from the select board, which has been withdrawn. They're looking at some other methods. We may see this back again, but for tonight, we'll not see it. Some discussion about department assignments, any updates from members. We'll have public input, minutes for August the 11th, and then adjourn. As a note to everyone, Cheryl's on vacation, so we have no financial update tonight. So with that, we'll move right into the agenda. Chris, you're on.
Awesome. Thank you for having me on. Basically, I kind of wanted to give you, we met with the Board of Selectmen last night regarding some surplus in the snow and ice budget. We had approximately $321,000 left this year. We have a couple items that we'd like to use that money on. The first being the traffic signal at the high school. We were given, actually, I think we used 2 years ago, we used what we had left in snow and ice to do the design on that and then put towards construction. I'm going to use round numbers because apparently I forgot that paper, but we have approximately $165,000 left in that budget to actually do the install on that on the lights with the construction oversight. It's approximately $320,000. So it leaves us about $160,000 short. So we'd like to use a portion of that 321 that's left in snow and ice to cover the deficit on that project, so that way we can put that thing out to bid in October and hopefully have it operational for next, I guess it'd be FY22 school year. The other item we'd like to use the remainder of that money on is a roll-off trash truck. The transfer station, we spend approximately $50,000 to $60,000 a year just in transportation costs, just in hauling our trash and recycling. We had a proposal from Waste Management for a 5-year extension at about a 4% increase every year. So if you take that out to 5 years, we'd be gone from about $50,000 a year to $88,000 a year just in trucking. So it's a huge expense to the town. So what I did is I actually took a cost of a roll-off truck and broke it out and tried to figure out what the payback on it would be. And what we end up finding is we can utilize our existing staff, so we don't have to, we're not asking for staffing increases. We're able to pay it back in a little less than 3.5 years. That's including adding a $10,000 capital recovery fee in there to figure it's a 20-year truck, $200,000. After 20 years, we could theoretically be able to pay for most of, if not all of, a new truck. That truck is $195,000. The $195,000 plus the $160,000 we need for the traffic signal does go over the 321. So we end up having a shortfall of approximately $33,000. After talking to Cheryl and trying to figure out where we could find that money, one of the options would be using capital stabilization fund to cover that $33,000 deficit. So that's basically it in a nutshell. That's what we're looking for those two things. And like I said, the truck will end up saving us at least $50,000 a year for, theoretically more as we go on, as the costs and rates would have gone up.
Well, the traffic signals, that we talked about that at last year, and we just dropped it from the budget, right?
Yeah, correct. What happened was Mass DOT hadn't approved the traffic signal yet, so there was no reason to put any money towards it.
Came up.
Yeah. So what happened? So now it's fully designed, fully approved with Mass DOT. The only thing holding us up now is just the funding.
Right.
And we obviously can't bid the project without having what the estimate's going to be to
The roll-off trash truck, that's something new, though. That's not something you've had on the capital budget list for the last couple of years or so.
No, well, the reason this has come up is as we started last May, I believe it was, when we were looking at the rate increases, the rates for the transfer station,
Yeah. Gotcha.
we were having approximately $100,000 deficit. And based on the numbers, we were going to start seeing $100,000, $110,000, $120,000 deficits every year. And we were able to figure out that most of that's in our trucking costs. So the Board of Selectmen asked me to figure out, some options for the transfer station rather than just to keep raising rates. And this is kind of the option that everybody has seemed to have jumped on board with, so to speak. So that's why I'm here presenting that to you guys.
Okay. You talked to Cheryl about the shortfall, about using the capital stabilization?
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. I brought up the fact that we were $33,000 short, and that was one of her ideas, was to possibly use the capital stabilization fund.
Okay. Comments from anyone on the board? Questions? If I remember last night, the Board of Selectmen voted to approve, or did they not?
Yeah. The Board of Selectmen voted last night to support these two items
Okay.
with the use of the capital stabilization
With the
fund.
use. Okay, that was my next question. Yeah, because I didn't see that part. All
So
right.
what all needs to go to town meeting? Is just the capital stabilization part of it?
I believe all of it has to, because the snow and ice has to be reappropriated to the two different items.
Obviously, both good things, and they're well thought through, as they always are when you bring them, Chris. I have to admit, the first thing that came to my mind when you said you had all this extra money was, oh, good, he can pay back the finance emergency money we gave you last month.
If we weren't going to see a
In case
contract,
you forgot.
yeah. Oh, I know. If we weren't in a contract year with the transfer station, see, we had a 5-year contract, and we were told I guess it would have been 6 months ago, that the rates that we had 5 years ago were definitely way too low. And so I saw this coming 6 months ago. So I wish I could have said that we didn't need it, but unfortunately, I think in order to keep that transfer station sustainable, this is one of the only options we have.
Any other comments, questions?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if anyone here knows without Cheryl, but I mean, do we know what the balance is in capital stabilization?
Can't hear you very well, Tyler. Is it just me?
Do we, does anyone know what the balance in capital stabilization fund is?
I don't remember, but it's a couple of million at least.
Okay.
Well, I think that I can safely say, at least for the people that are here, that we'll look favorably on your request. It's going to go as an article in town meeting. So we formally will have to either recommend or not recommend it later on in the year.
Okay.
But in the meantime, I don't want to take a vote because I don't have a full board, and we will take it up later before the warrant's finished. So anyway, that's my feeling. We thank you for coming to see us tonight. And don't forget what Betsy said. She keeps a list of what you receive and what you don't receive.
Oh, I know. No, I appreciate you taking the time to hear me out on this, and
I think it's well worthwhile, Chris. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, while you're here, one quick question. When does the work on Foster Street start?
I can give you a quick update. We'll be 75% designed at Thanksgiving. I just talked to the engineers, so that's right before the new tip process starts. We're gonna hope, because we're at 75%, we can push the state to fund us in FY22. If not, right now we're scheduled for FY24. So if we can get pushed up at least a year to 23, that'd be awesome. We're gonna push for 22 because we will be ready for FY22, but there's no guarantees.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Chris. Next
you.
item, department assignments. Oh, there's Greg.
Yeah,
Welcome.
I apologize. I'm tardy. I had a work issue I had to get through. Sorry about that.
Well, you have a UPS clock right behind you.
I know.
How could you possibly be?
I was giving the company plug here.
Anyway, a couple of things for the new folks that are around. There are certain town committees that require a member of the Fincom to be part of the committee. One of those is the Personnel Board, and right now Gary Wilson is our representative. I wanted to ask him if he wanted to continue with that. I rather suspect he does, but in any event, if he doesn't, you might want to consider whether or not you would be interested in stepping up. The other town committee is the Preservation Commission. CPC, Betsy Bowling is our rep there. Transport Advisory Council, Betsy again is our rep. We had a representative to the sewer project, and that was Fred Faulkner. Now, I'm not sure, since the selectmen have moved this to Light and Water as the project overseers, whether we have anything else to do with the committee or not. But in the event that we do, and I think we should, because this is certainly going to be the biggest financial thing coming down the pipe that any of us have seen, I would be looking for someone to think about taking this on as an assignment. And the Town Administrator Search Committee, that's Greg Champney. Despite what the chairwoman of the select board said last night, it's not me, it's Greg. Which, a note, gives us two bites at the apple, since Gary is also the rep for the Personnel Board. So we'll have two representatives on the search committee. So keep those things in mind. Next time we hold a meeting, I would like to see, or in the meantime, I'll find out if the incumbents want to stay with those committees, and I'll offer it out to someone else to step up. The other thing we do is departmental reps, and we assign each one of our committee members to oversee the budget process with certain departments within the town. I have made up a schedule on that. I will be getting it in electronic form and sending it out to you sometime in the next week or so, and we'll take that up again at an upcoming meeting. Member updates.
Before we do that, Alan,
Yes.
I'm already dealing with Nick and the Light and Water Division, and certainly a lot of attention is being paid to the sewer and the design elements and the review and all that stuff. So, I mean, if you want, I'd be happy to continue and bundle that in with what I'm doing with them already. The sewer stuff. You can consider that if you want. I'm
Sounds
just
good.
willing to do it.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Alan. Any other comments? We'll move to member updates. Betsy, do you have anything?
Just a couple things with CPC. They've got, we'll get this, I guess, as we go through the warrants, but just an update. There's two funding requests coming before that should be in town meeting. One is the Mary Brown property. I think somebody came and talked to us about that. Is that true or not? I can't
Yes.
remember whether I just saw it at CPC where they came here also.
A long time ago, but yes.
Okay. So that's coming forward, and there's a fountain outside of the old depot across the street outside where now it's a bike shop. It used to be the liquor store before it was the other thing. Any rate, apparently somebody in another town found one of those fountains and started doing research and found out it's very historical, related to the town in particular. So there's some of like $12,000 they're asking to refurb that, and apparently the guy that owns the stove shop there has the parts and knows how to do that kind of work, and so that's one of the other things coming up. So that's CPC. I'm also on kind of an ad hoc or a temporary grouping, which is Park and Rec for COVID, because as the summer goes on, things keep changing as the state regulations change. So they've got a group of some different people from different boards just to kind of keep people updated on what's going on. And that continues. Today there's a meeting and they talked about soccer will be starting up, but some of the changes they've made. Some of it, I'm always impressed when I hear them talk, both Park and Rec and the other people that come, that they're obviously meeting state regulations, but it's not about doing the minimum to meet state regulations. It's really about doing the right thing and trying to keep people safe. So though they're doing stuff, it's just going to be, not going to be travel soccer, it's just be in town, things like that. And then all the state regulations in terms of the, number of people who can be on the field and then limiting the spectators and wearing masks and all those usual things that you would think. And then you probably heard or seen some of these other programs they're starting now. They've got a temporary or a kind of an interim program now for some of the younger kids before school not starting until the middle of September. Now the Camp T is over, and they have something set up, and they're waiting to see how much interest they have in terms of having some remote learning, monitored remote learning. I guess they've got space at O'Neill Cinemas, and for people that can and want to pay for it, for the kids, the days that they're not in school, they could go there and they'll be monitored. Obviously, they're not teachers, but they'll be monitored. Have access to Wi-Fi and can spread out in those theater rooms, and then also have some room out there to go out and play and run around and do some other things that kids are supposed to do. So anyway, I think they're and Oh, Alan, we were on that other call too about all the financials and so on. I don't know if you want to talk to any of that, but
Yeah, I have a couple of things.
okay.
Greg, what's happening with the search?
We're going to start meeting next Wednesday. According to Cindy, planning to do this in 4 to 6 weeks and just meet every Wednesday and go through the process. There isn't any plans to change the job description from the last time that we did this a few months back. So they're going to go with the same job description. And the committee's all together. We've got all the members.
There was some discussion with the board of selectmen the select board last night, that they may make some minor changes to that job description, but minor.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
as
wasn't
Betsy-
aware of that. The email that I got today was no changes, so.
Yeah, good. As Betsy said, she and I attended a meeting with Park and Rec and several other people last week, and they briefed us on their progress with their summer programs, and they've done very, very well considering the virus situation. They ran all their usual camps and did not have a single case of the virus, which was terrific. They plan to run some of these programs even into the fall. Specifically, one is sailing. They had a good turnout for that, and they think they can still keep running it for several more months. They're planning for next year to drop all the free programs. They don't think they can sustain giving or spending the money on something free. They're not going to run any programs that they see as a deficit. If there's deficit spending, they won't run the program. And they are making some part-time staff adjustments. One thing they brought up is that they were looking to get professionals in to do a survey throughout the town about what the town citizens would like to see Park and Rec do that they're not doing now. That's somewhere in the neighborhood of $30,000. Betsy and I sort of let them know that might be a non-starter because it's not something you can put your hands around, especially when we don't know what all of the expenses are going to be with COVID. So they may come back with that, but I suspect not. But they are always thinking, they're forward-leading, and I'm just pleased as punch with what they've been doing. The only other thing is that, as you know, we're going to get several requests from town departments about hiring some of the positions that we didn't hire that were were requested for in this year's budget. So we know there's going to be some money have to be spent there. They don't have them yet, but I suspect that when Cheryl gets back from vacation, she'll be forwarding some of that stuff to us and to the select board. Yes, Beth.
Have you heard has anybody heard from the town clerk's office? I mean, what are the extra expenses that they're incurring for this state, for the mail-in balloting? Do we know, or is that being covered by the state?
I don't know. I haven't heard. In fact, I haven't asked either. I just suspected, like all state mandates, you
So
will
we're
do
paying
it
for right.
and you will pay for it.
That's what I figured too. But it's usually not insignificant when they're doing that many mailings, and then all those postage paid envelopes, those come back, and it's like double the cost of a real envelope, right?
Right.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah. Tyler?
No, I don't have anything, although I would still have to volunteer for some stuff when we discuss that, so I can give some updates.
Okay. And Alan, thank you very much for jumping in there with the sewer thing.
Open to the sewer.
Yeah. With the sewer thing, it's different with the other thing.
I'm not sure. Yep.
Okay, the next item, I did want to do one thing about meetings. I haven't got the select board's meeting scheduled yet. As soon as I get that, I'll get together with Cheryl and her budget planning document, and we'll come up with one for us that incorporates all of that. As soon as that comes in, we'll do it. In the meantime,
Excuse me, Alan.
I'm sorry.
I can email you that tomorrow if you'd like, because we did approve our schedule through the end of December. So we're going to be meeting pretty much every Monday in September, and then October 13th, 26th, and then on the 2nd and 4th Monday in November, and then the 1st and 3rd Monday in December.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you, Joe.
Yep.
For our purposes, I recommend that we just keep with our plan to meet the second and fourth Tuesdays of each month. Should there be a time when there's nothing of importance coming up, I'll be sure to cancel a meeting in time that everybody will know and LCTV won't get into a tizzy. So in the meantime, we'll meet. Some other odd meetings always come up because something comes before the Board of Selectmen that they need us and our input. So in the meantime, just plan for the second and fourth Tuesday of every month through December. And then I'll finalize it later on.
Hey, Alan, do we need to make any adjustments to that based on special town meeting? Meaning, the warrant articles are cut off. Do we need to look at meeting prior to that or after that?
Yeah, I with Cheryl's document, I'll make sure that we are there before anything, before the warrant is well, not closed because that's not a problem, but before town meeting. I'll make sure that we've done all the things we need to do.
Got it. Okay.
Thanks for the. Next. Lost my piece of paper here. Public input. Do we have some public input? We don't have any public, do we? Okay. Minutes of August the 11th. I know Marilyn sent those out. I made a couple of corrections. I don't know if anyone else did. But assuming that you've read them and agree, I'll take a motion to approve.
So moved.
I have a motion to approve the August 11th meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? If not, Alan Bell,
All those, yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Betsy,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
Alan, yes. All right, good. That completes the agenda as specified. Anything else that we need to know from anybody? If not, I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion to adjourn in a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Kirby.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.
Good night, everyone.
Yeah, good night.